Story 1.
I, 43 male, need to send a letter of thanks to Dyson. I discovered my wife, 49, of 17 years, 18-month affair when I updated our fan filter on the app it uses. History: married 17 years with no children of our own. She's been divorced once and had 2 daughters that I helped her raise, now 28, 23, prior to our marriage. We've really only had minor bumps and issues, in my opinion. We've had an open door type of communication with each other. Whether it be work issues and venting, our sexual issues, or just how we are feeling. Often, we will just talk on the couch about life and philosophy in general. I've felt that we had a great connection in a pretty heavy, fulfilling sex life. We are both in good shape and maintain a healthy lifestyle. I work in the medical field and due to things being what they are, have been putting in a decent amount of overtime over the past 5 months. She works in a legal consultancy and has been WFH for the past 5 months. Which has made things a bit distant, but on our days off we are tight. Changed the filter on the Dyson fan in our bedroom last night. Asked wife if I could use her phone to update the app, in order to reset the change filter alert. Mine was on the charger next to the front door. I noticed she had put on a pattern unlock, and kind of wanted to ask her what that was about. As I was finding the app on her phone, a notification for Snapchat popped up. My stomach dropped immediately as I read the small tag, "I'll bring the special toy." It said. My brain understood the words but my mind just stopped functioning. She asked what was the matter, after I guess several minutes of me just sitting and staring at the bedroom fan. My wife has an obligatory quarterly out-of-town meeting, that puts her 2 states away for 5 days every business quarter. I knew it was about this coming trip on Monday. I've perused Reddit for years anonymously. I've read hundreds of stories that began like this, and never once have I thought about it being me that would sit on my bedroom floor and be in such a cold, dumbfounded state. I recovered and said, "Oh, just getting info about the IP and router." That's how the fan communicates through the app. I have a Chromebook that she logged into Facebook yesterday. I took a week's vacation at short notice. My supervisor is a cool chick and once I laid it out what I may have discovered and have to do. I'm going to need time off. I've been up all night reading her chats. She left to go to the office just now and I made sure the Google location history was on and find my phone was active. I'm so suspicious of everything she does now I can't look at myself in the mirror. She doesn't know I saw the message notification. I logged onto the messaging system that Verizon uses and have signed in under her number and name. There are at least 15,000 that date back to February of last year messages, memes, flirty pics, and some X-rated ones too. She stopped texting him this way about 3 months ago. Didn't stop texting him but stopped using the message app through Verizon. I'm guessing they switched to Snapchat because it's discreet. I'm not on any social media in any way, shape or form. I am clueless. I just figured out that you can't log into Snapchat through Facebook. But it just takes an email and password. And she has used this Chromebook to do that. Hell, she used it just 3 nights ago lying in bed next to me rubbing my back while I went to sleep. She messaged him and sexted him lying next to me. It's a younger man from work. He is married and has 3 young children. He and his wife have Facebook. I've met him twice. Shook his hand. I'm at a complete loss again and have wandered my house, that I custom built for her, for hours. I almost can't feel anything. What little that I am processing is just white hot rage. I logged on Snapchat and there it all was. I have called my best friend who has been divorced 3 times. Don't get me started on his partner picker, he recommended a vicious lawyer. I plan on recording, saving everything. There's pics of them having sex. I'm sure her phone or his has video. I desperately want this to be a bad dream. She said terrible things about me. She's told him my insecurities. She told him, "I love you." They have made no long-term plans, so this feels like a purely sexual relationship. It almost makes it better, but also makes it so much worse. Like she's literally throwing away our life for this. She knows cheating is an absolute deal breaker for me. Our usual routine on the days she leaves for her meetings is I take her to the airport and drop her off with a long goodbye. I can't even think about what I have to do now. My friend says print out the entire thing and see if I can recover things from Snapchat. From what I understand I can't, unless I have her phone. My plan is to see the lawyer today. I'm paying a ridiculous amount to jump in her appointment line. Get the ball rolling and hopefully have a plan of action from her. I really want to book a flight and follow my wife to the hotel she's staying at and catch her in the act. I have access to her hotel booking options and have put myself as a contact person, so I can get a room key without alerting her. I think I'm just going to log onto the messaging apps when I get into town and watch it happen in real time. If I could get the papers ready in time I'd hand them to her, instead I'm just going to hand her the printouts. It's a 600-page PDF. His wife accepted my friend request. I am debating sending everything now. I am seething. I just don't want to lose any advantage. I'm going to fly there Monday afternoon, log in and see what they've talked about, get a room key to my wife's room and drop off the package in her room with my wedding ring. I'm going to sit in the bar and watch my phone blow up. I'm going to call the AP and tell him to meet me in the lobby per bar and to bring my wife down. Then tell him that a similar package has been sent certified mail to his home addressed to his wife. As well as a Facebook message that I plan on hitting send on as I tell him. It feels petty and weak, I want to rage and scream, but I'm helpless. This morning all I could do was give her a peck on the cheek goodbye. I really can't stand to look her in the eye. I somehow have to get through the weekend. I guess I'm asking, is my spiteful, hate-fueled plan worth it? I just want to inflict pain at this point. I want to hurt her emotionally. I feel eviscerated, emasculated. I will not entertain an apology. This is the one act that is unforgivable. It takes so many steps to cheat on someone. They all can be stopped until the sin is complete. Then it is done. Should I just confront her tonight? Or catch her? I don't think I'll update. I'm truly thinking about never using social media again, and only being with a partner that has a similar outlook moving forward. Edit. I found the special toy. Keep in mind we have a chest full of adult fun devices. It was already in her carry-on. It's one of those remote control vibrators. The ones that can be controlled by an app. It looks expensive. I meet with the lawyer in 90 minutes.
Update.
I met with the lawyer. She was actually kind, and I dare say compassionate with me. She told me point blank that her job was to represent me in this fight for my future, and my job in all of this was to tell her the complete truth and not make her job harder. I went to Kinko's and printed the file out. Cost $534 for color, because I wanted to have the pictures pop. Shout out to Chris at Kinko's for not making a scene when the nude started coming out. He asked what it was all about, so I told him. He was taken aback, but shook my hand and said sorry. I went home and crashed for about 3 hours, and soon to be an ex-wife came home around 19:30, usual time. The lawyer said to forget any Hollywood confrontation in a hotel bar. That it would look pretty crazy and not becoming at all. So, I'm sorry to all those people that wanted the high drama. She's right ultimately. There are 2 routes to take with divorce, contested or non-contested. She said I would have to notify my STBXW that I have retained counsel, and in order to proceed my STBXW would have to either contest the divorce or we would go through mediation and file from there. So, she got home about 2 hours ago. I asked her if there was anything going on that she wanted to talk about. She said nothing other than the election. She then asked what was bothering me. I wanted to cry, but truthfully, I was cried out. I said I was curious as to why she had a remote control vibrator in her luggage. The look on her face was actually more telling than anything I've ever seen. She looked panicked, pale. She began to breathe faster, sweat. I asked why she would have something like that. Who had the code and the app to it? She stammered and the tears began. As I pulled out my 3 file folders worth of text exchanges, I asked if the APS wife would have it. She cried and pleaded that she could explain. I said she had 5 minutes to do it. Of course, she couldn't. I told her what my attorney told me to tell her. I also told her to leave. She screamed it was her house too. I calmly told her that maybe, but I would be notifying everyone about her affair and betrayal. That even the girls will know. Or she can leave now and find living arrangements for the time being. Hell, she'll be at her work conference for a week. She was speechless. I calmly pulled up Facebook and showed her the APS wife. I said, do you want me to tell her, or are you going to do it right now? Tears and moaning and pleading with, I love you, and, it wasn't supposed to go this far. Then my favorite, you can't do this. I said, well, it looks like I'm doing it, as I sent the APS wife a message with the file of their escapades on it. I prefaced it with apologies and a brief explanation. I haven't heard back from her. I leafed through the stacks of paper and started reading random excerpts out loud to my STBXW. I just wish we could spend the day attached to each other. Just you inside of me. You feel so much more intense than any other woman I've ever been with. She is still sobbing and asking to talk about us. She says our marriage can withstand her mistake. I told her I would never forgive her, her words, and that she threw away the last 17 years. I'm still entertaining the whole telling our thing, and I am going to tell everyone about her decision to end our marriage by cheating. Thank you to everyone who responded. I feel bad I couldn't respond to all the PMS and responses. I have a therapy appointment scheduled for Tuesday. I kind of feel extremely elated. I'm shaking, and incredibly low right now. I kind of want to die. The house is pretty quiet except for her crying and moaning. I told her to not come back after her trip. I'm currently sending friend requests and trying to get everyone on my page. I'm just going to send it to everyone that way. I am going to wait until the morning to call the girls. I raised them from when they were 11 and 6. They are women now, 28 and 23. I don't know what to tell them, or how to handle them.
My opinion. Well, that is very personal story. I will ask you not to do anything without legal advice from your lawyer. I feel you have tons of rage inside, but please, contact your lawyer before you do anything. First of all, keep all the evidence. Second, please, don't confront her, don't get violent. This will make everything worse. Don't get in contact with her without voice recorder. And contact your lawyer about sending all materials to the other spouse. Yes, you have these documents, but ask the lawyer if you are in your right to send these materials to her. Think clearly. I hope everything will be alright. Story 2.
I, 25 female, and my fiancé, 27 male, met in Vancouver. I was a successful voice actress, and he was a soon-to-be lawyer. When we first met, there was an instant connection and we decided to keep dating. As the days went by, I moved in. This was my first time moving with someone in their home. I was a bit scared as I have never depended so much on a man before. It took me several years to get over my exes or even go on trips with them, as I have had traumatic experiences, such as them abandoning me in random places. A couple months after, I worked long hours, 8 hours plus shifts. We decided Vancouver wasn't the place for us as everything was expensive and he was fired from work. So, I had to support us with whatever I was making. Long story short, I was having many meltdowns because I was being harassed in my job, as well as my pay became less and less because there were more competitive girls, and I wasn't feeling or doing my best. I was having arguments with my fiancé. I would come home and clean the house. He would cook and I would do the laundry and try to keep our home neat. We talked about moving to Mexico, where I am from, as cost of living was cheaper, and I had bought my own place. We had many trips between Canada and Mexico, as well as he had invited me to meet his sister and his mom to England. They were both very welcoming and loving. We had arguments here and there, but nothing too harsh or significant in my opinion. We traveled to Italy for my birthday in February. Everything was fine. We come back to sell our stuff in Vancouver, sofa, kitchen stuff, the bed, everything, and the arguments kept going as I didn't want to go back to my job. He knew I was being harassed. When we got ready to come down to Mexico, a couple days passed. I checked his phone and he had invited a girl over to have sex. He sent her pictures and tried to convince her to come through. I was feeling enraged. I woke him up immediately and slapped him across the face. I was furious. My AirPods were missing that day and my Pandora ring as well. I called her and asked her to send me the full conversation. He had sworn he never saw her and holds it to this day. When she texted me, both him and her were making fun of my appearance, saying that I'm not pretty and that I'm boring and bitter. They made comments about my body. During this time as well, we were trying to conceive. I spoke to his mom, and I told her I didn't want him in Mexico anymore and I didn't want to be with him, as I was very heartbroken. His mom and my parents convinced me to stay, but I'm having so many doubts. He's tried to reassure me he will never do anything like that anymore, but I'm honestly having such a hard time. I feel unable to forgive him. I don't know what I should do. He wants to propose in July, but I don't feel like this is the man for me. Want suggestions to move on from this?
Update.
On my previous post, I was trying to figure out a way to forgive and move on from my ex's infidelity with a random flower shop girl. Well, things couldn't have gone worse. I confronted him this morning about the fact that I'm not able to move past this. That I truly deserve someone better, more loving, caring. Who won't speak bad about me and who I know will never cheat. Although it's hard for me to believe that's true, there are men who don't cheat. These men just happen to truly love their women. He told me that my family and him had already discussed with me clean slate and that her texts were obviously edited and fake. He showed me Photoshop on them, and they do seem fake. However, the fact that he still invited her into our home and stole from me doesn't save anything. I told him that it was fine, and I was interested in hearing him. I packed his bags and told him to leave my house. I told him, go call this girl, maybe she can buy you a ticket back to Canada. He begged and begged for forgiveness and to move past this, and I denied it obviously. Later today I realized, notification on my phone, that I had missed my period. So, I took a pregnancy test and I'm pregnant. This is really hard on me because I have been trying to conceive since the beginning of this year, and I have fertile problems. I'm in a lot of conflict. I'm happy yet I'm very sad. I feel deeply alone. My parents are very mad, but I told them I don't care. His mom and his sister understand my side. I told them about the stolen items. I do not know his whereabouts. I don't know what he's doing, but I just wanted to thank everyone in the comments for your supportive messages. You guys gave me the courage I couldn't find within myself to leave this person behind.
Update.
Yeah, this was a bad update. So, about a couple months ago, I wasn't doing financially good. I was struggling to make ends meet because 2 of my businesses were on, I guess you can say, pause. I have a real estate company and I also have a money exchange company in Mexico. While I was seeing the possibility of expanding in Canada, I realized that honestly with so many taxes there was no point. I also worked at a voiceover studio, which was my passion. It was merely a hobby until it became my full-time job, and I was making a lot of money. I got a lot of good job proposals. But again, as any job with highly successful men, they tried to lure me in saying I wasn't going to progress if I didn't sleep with someone for a role. My companies were dry. During this time there was difficulty selling homes because of season, and my money exchange was suspended because my officer compliance made a mistake which the government ultimately took my shop down. I had to pay the bank a loan. It was honestly very messy and unlucky. I got exploited a lot at work for minimum pay in Canada. Voiceover, I was very stressed. It's been 3 months since I've returned to Mexico, and I have sold 3 of my parents' properties and 1 of my own, and I've made $5 million US including my commissions. My ex didn't finish his article with his startup company. He needed 1 month but his company decided to fire him, which I found unfair, but I later understood he's such a very mediocre worker. So, I'm in the process of opening a new money exchange downtown Mexico, because I finally have the economic opportunity to do so, and I'm in the process of selling more homes. I'm a really hardworking person. I studied finance and sales. I read a lot. I'm highly educated. I studied in 2 countries. I speak several languages. I'm not giving the full picture here and I'm sorry. I'm just caught up with a lot of things.
My opinion. I'm sorry it all happened to you. I believe that the best thing you can do now is to focus on yourself and on you, baby. You have a financial opportunity now. You do not depend on anyone and can continue freely. I feel like someone who wants to bring strangers to your bedroom doesn't deserve to be trusted. Anyway, I feel like engagement after 10 months sounds a bit hastily, especially in the modern world. You don't get to know each other well enough for such a step. I might be mistaken in your case, but for me it sounds like everything is happening too fast. Anyway, wish you all the best. Hope you and your child will be fine. Thank you for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe on my channel.